What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. You check out that content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on Mike Tomlin. Everybody's saying that Mike Tomlin was that he stepped down, which I think is funny, right? So before the Pittsburgh Steelers played Monday night, before they played Monday night against the Texans, I was talking to my daughter. I told my daughter, I was like, if the Steelers lose this game, Mike Tomlin is going to step down. Because, well, she asked me, she said, you think the Steelers are going to fire Mike Tomlin? I said, nah, they're not going to fire him. They just going to require him to step down, right? Because that, like everybody is saying, well, the Steelers never fire their coaches. And I was like, so they want to be able to save face publicly. But when you have Mike Tomlin, who I think the last time the Steelers went to the Super Bowl was like in 2016. Was it the Super Bowl or the playoffs? Well, they haven't. The last 10 years, the Steelers haven't had a lot of success in postseason, right? So I said, and it's not a bad thing that the Steelers, don't fire their coaches. I think it's good. It makes for a more stable organization. And I think, in my opinion, I think that like the organization has played really fair with Mike Tomlin because, like I said, the last 10 years they haven't had a lot of they haven't had any post season success. So, in order for them to save face, I think that they kind of what can I say? They kind of urged Mike Tomlin to step down. But don't think, man, that for 1 minute that it was Mike Tomlin. He would have came back. If you're not required to win, and you know that nobody's going to fire you, you get comfortable at that job. And he was comfortable for 19 years, and it is what it is. They got rid of him, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's just time for a change. And they kind of when the media keep putting that narrative out there that the Rooneys, they don't fire their coaches. They only had 3 coaches in their whole history, right? They had Chuck Noll. What's the other guy after Chuck Noll what was before him? He always do the sports show. Anyway, they only had 3 coaches, and I can only recall 3 coaches. Chuck Noll. I keep forgetting this guy's name, but anyway, I think that you can't be mad at the organization. Like I said, like the media continues to put that narrative forth that they don't fire their coaches, but they do require you to step down if you're not doing your job around there, right? And so, a friend of mine, I text him and I said, "Yeah, man, he a Steelers fan too, right?" He was like, "The Steelers, Mike Tomlin stepped down," and I'm like, "No, I think Mike Tomlin was forced out." And he's a Steeler fan, so he said, "No, I don't think they forced him out. I think that because the Rooneys, they known for not firing people." And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. Well, let's go with that story. We can go with that one. But yeah, man, Mike Tomlin, man, I don't you can't get me to think that the Steelers would have brought this guy back after 10 years of not having any postseason success. And all of the things, like all of the other distractions, like distractions that went on with what's the guy? Antonio, Brown, and what else? They had other distractions with wide receiver. Like you had the other wide receiver just now that went out and had a little. I don't know if he hit the fan. I couldn't really see from the film, but he did kind of yank on the guy, pull the guy head. So you got that distraction, and in some ways, it just seemed like the team, the players on the team, kind of really like tuned Mike Tomlin out. So it's after a while, your message gets stale, and he good at press conferences and doing those rah-rah speeches and all that stuff sound good, but if you don't get the results, then those owners don't want to. That is good for content, and people like to hear that stuff, but and even fans get tired of that. you know, at the press conference and the rah-rah and stuff. And then when they win, he blowing kisses at the camera, pounding himself on the chest. And win the game, man. Win the game. And, cut all that out. I know Steelers fans. I talked to some Steelers fans, and most of them been wanted Mike Tomlin out of there. You know, the Steelers fans I talked to, they wanted Tomlin out of there back like in 2017, 2018, they wanted him out of there. And so now here it is, like 8 or 9 years later, and they finally getting their wish. Mike Tomlin's out of there. I do think that Mike Tomlin probably, if he wanted to, he could coach somewhere else. He'll probably coach another team, which, and I also was telling people, like, if I coach somewhere for 19 years as a professional, I'll do just like the last coach that I keep forgetting his name. But I would do just like I wouldn't coach anymore. I would just go do like some commentating job, man, and just hang out with your family. Spend time with your family. You'd have made some money, get yourself a cushy job. Coaches work a lot of hours and they spend a lot of time away from their family. And I wouldn't want to be coaching up until the day before I die. And then, football, to me, it's just not all that. No job really, no career, is worth just like not spending time with your family and stuff like that. So you had a 19-year run. If it was up to me, I would just retire. Maybe, get a part-time job somewhere. But other than that, man, shoot, if I'm Mike Tomlin, I wouldn't worry about it. He got 20 years out the deal. But for all y'all people that think that Mike Tomlin, I just think that's so funny. For people who think that Mike Tomlin, he retired. Or not retired, but he stepped down, like without any convincing from the Rooney family. Oh man, when my buddy told me that, he was like, "Yeah, I don't think the Rooneys forced him out. I think he just wanted to retire." I was like, "Okay, yeah, we're gonna go with that one." That's the joke of the day. But yeah, man, that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'm going to check you all out in the next video. Peace.